I think society is like let's think of it as a boiling water. It's slowly is warming up, and then it gets to that point and starts boiling. And then when it starts boiling, everybody's trying to express their feelings. A lot of people come in the street and start chanting. A lot of people go in the streets, start throwing stones. A lot of people go and sit on the floor, on the streets, and just different ways of showing their disobedience to the government. And a lot of people start writing music.
فهرست سیاه، فهرست قرمز، فهرست بزرگ و جهانی و بگوی یلا. با موتور جستجوگرم گشتم و ویراژ زدم تو کوچه های در توی فیلترنت. توی فیسبوک عاقبت پیدا کردم، عدد کردم. 100 بار ایگنورم کردی. نرمیدم، نگسستم، روی استاتوسم نوشتم که تو صیادی و من آهوی دشتم.
The way I look at it is that I get frustrated from observing all these things that are happening around me, and it's this is how I went out, my frustration. It's not that I'm aiming at somebody or I'm pre-planning to say certain things. It's just what comes out. There has been few times that I started writing songs, and in the middle of the song I realized that I'm doing that, and I stopped because I don't think that's the route I want to go, because I really don't have a solution. I only see the problem. So I'm just too scared to say something that might not be true. It's personal. It's really personal for me. I just have to write and to vent out my emotions. That's why I do it.
سرخ خورشید باز اومد و شب شد گریزون گل لاله زارم لاله ها بیارم تو کوه ها دارن گل 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 آفتاب میبارم تو کوه ها دارن گل 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 آفتاب میبارم
So that one song that you guys did for the park, how did that come about? What is the name of the song?
It's in Turkish tencere tava havası. The tune of Pots and Pans.
Pots and Pans.
Ben tek şey söyleyeceğim. Tencere tava hep aynı hava.
Bir öyle bir böyle kelamlardan, yasaklardan illallah. Başına buyruk kararlardan, fermanlardan illallah. Bir öyle bir böyle kelamlardan, yasaklardan illallah. Başına buyruk kararlardan, fermanlardan illallah. Aman aman bıktık valla, aman aman şiştik valla. Bu ne kibir, bu ne öfke, gel yavaş gel yerler yaş.
I mean, the protests in Turkey came very suddenly. We were involved personally also. We were involved in the protests, and people were all in the streets making sound. And one day, the Prime Minister Erdogan said that, oh, okay, these are all pots and pans people are doing this, and it's all the same. Yeah, we have seen these before, and it will come and it will go. He humiliated the people's reactions and people's. One of friends said that, okay, why not make music out of these?
Aman aman bıktır valla, aman aman şiştir valla. Bu ne kibir, bu ne öfke. Gel yavaş gel yerler yaş. Gel yavaş gel yerler yaş.
What motivates people to come together seems to be that people are all against the government's policies. But I mean, there are different people, different groups of people. Some people are, with different political backgrounds. Some people are just against the government. Various groups of people with different political backgrounds, but all against the policies of the government, which want to limit the individual's freedom.
Right. But now I think the important question comes in is that how does that how does musicians and music reflect that? You know, bands like yourself, how do they reflect that feeling that people have towards the government, and how does government try to control music? Like, are they watching? Are they listening after you made this song?
The musical field do not reflect this diversity. 100 songs which have been recorded for these protests and after this protest.
Wow.
Yeah, but I wish to hear more songs or more melodies in different languages or with different musical backgrounds and etc. But most of them are the ones who have been composed and performed by the amateur musicians, which is good, I think. It's very good.
Yeah.
You cannot see the mainstream musicians.
Why is that? Because they're afraid that they might get in trouble?
Yes, I think that's the main reason.
N'oldu bizim şehre n'oldu? Hormonlu bina doldu. Aman aman bıktık valla. Aman aman şiştik valla. Bu ne kibir, bu ne öfke. Gel yavaş gel yerler yaş. Gel yerler yaş.
Today, an artist has become a pop icon.
لحنها 7 مرات وتروح تاني يوم وتقولها بحنان ودموع.
Like, this is what they reduce artistry to, whereas some artists, some actors and some artists are still participating in their social roles of awareness, of waking people up. Unfortunately, the slogans are shallow. I'm being very honest, and it's a problem. The slogans are shallow, the research is not well, the research about the slogans and where you are going is not really clear. These things take work and take discipline, take reading, take thinking, take understanding, take making a decision, take understanding what your identity is, what are you geopolitically today, what is your role in the area, why is all this fucking bullshit happening, why did I have a war in my country from I grew up bullets flying all over my head, I could not play outside my house, why? Today I understand. If we don't understand these as artists, and these are small things, I'm just babbling about different topics, but if we don't really relate ourselves like this to our present geographically, politically. Yeah, when you say I'm from here, I have to understand what's here, why it's here, how it happened, what's happening, so I can find problems, identify them, and fix them. I actually really cut from my culture. In the 14 years, came back once to Lebanon, stayed for an extended period, but even on a physical level, I didn't want to be here. And I spent that time learning American music, African American music, learning about actually the history of these people. And I really found that identity, their search and social identity, is what gave them that uniqueness. When you protest, is that you are acknowledging your right to be. And it is your basic right as a human being. Protest has a negative connotation, and I think protest has a premeditated idea about what it should be and what its results should be, and it allows itself to be repressed by calling itself protest. When you call yourself a protester, you immediately have made the authority have the right to stop you. In Lebanon, there is this freedom of expression to a certain extent that is allowed. You can go and say whatever you want.
Much more than the countries around you.
Way, way, way more.
Or other Arab
way more. And listen, not to be misunderstood from what I said, from everything that I've been saying. The intent is there. The talent is there. The intent, and that's for me the most important. But I really, really believe there's a mode of operation, an approach to your work, to your art, to your concept, that is lacking from people in the area in general. There's intent, there's a lot of intent, there's a lot of people talking about this stuff. All the artists in the region, most of them are expressing a certain state of being and wanting to change and things that are bothering them. But very few are pursuing the causes, and this is not a critique of the work, but it's an advice for the mode of operation behind the work. When you read how they thought about a black man in America, trust me, it contributes to why Barack Obama is in the White House today. And people who don't understand that, if they don't understand that Miles Davis helped Barack Obama, they have a big problem. If they don't think that Thelonious Monk helped Barack Obama, they have a big problem.
Can you describe exactly what you mean?
Because these guys, when they were together in that era, they thought and fought social, political systems that were imposed on them. They made people aware of things. I don't think we're entertainers. I don't look at myself like an entertainer. But throughout history and time, artists were brought to bring you closer to God, make you awaken your higher senses in you. We are the tools of Dionysus, like, you know, we're not here to just entertain you, to put on a show and play notes. Playing music is different than playing notes.
يشتم واحد في أغنية مش تنزله بمطوة وكزلك ويجي بصاحبك من الطلبية. العنف هي الدولة اللي عندها أسلحة نووية بتستخدمها كل يوم وهي محرمة دوليا. ناس بيعانوا من الفقر، بيحاربوا بالدين، عايشين مرتاحين، ماتوا في التحرير. اللي يقول إن العنف مجرد روس وسكاكين يبقى العنف الحقيقي مش زي ما انتوا عارفين. I look at the situation or like the political situation from a social point of view, from the perspective of someone who lives in the street. You know, if I see people die, I don't know who killed them. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not happy with people dying, no matter who's the party doing that. So I can talk about that. And this is actually what we did in the song that we released today.
أنا الشعب حامي نفسه بس بعيد عن الحصانة، متفرقين وبندفع الغرامة. يا ترى كسبنا الثورة بالخسارة؟ قالوا المهم الشكل كروت في البطانة. كتم قفل على المجلس بالحجارة، عدم قول الإعلام عايز نضارة. بقت الطلب للي خربوا في الوزارة، شيلوا صورتكم وحطوا بينوكل في البطانة.
It's kind of political, but we took no sides. We just talked about the things that we see, regardless of who's doing that. We're just saying what we're observing, and we're not blaming anyone. We're not saying this party did exactly that or this guy did that. We're just saying we see we're seeing a lot of wrong stuff. You guys decide what you want.
مظلومين واحنا براءة اعكسونا في ناس كتير واقفين ورانا.
Since 2011, the revolution in January, people started listening to different kinds of music. They built stages and then people came to perform. People were introduced to different kinds of new genres that they never heard before. Right. When the music comes from the people, it expresses what they feel.
اتفرقنا كنا زمان عيلة اتفنطنا زي ورق الكوتشينة أصدق مين ما كله داخل يزق كل حزب مع التاني بيلعب الشك يما قوم اتفرجي في كل حتة بلطجي واقف ضد السواجي عايزينك تبقى بصمجي ولسه.
In this region of the world, there are so many elements that are connected to each other that you can't just say, okay, I'm just going to stand back and just do music.
Politics and religion come to you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for example, I told you that we perform a lot, but every time there's a revolution or a protest or someone dies or whatever happens, they cancel the show right away. Mm-hmm. They call us and say, I'm sorry, we can't, it's circumstances are not good for the concert now.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to cancel it or postpone it.
شايف الفرق ما بيننا مفيش ايدنا واحدة قصاد العالم بالإنجاز.
For me as a rapper or like a singer or an artist, I have to have an ID that says I'm allowed
to perform. Right.
I don't have that.
Okay.
For a very specific reason, which is they don't have rapper in the ID. They call us monologuist. A monologuist is the guy who comes on stage and says a monologue and make people laugh.
Right, comedian.
Like a comedian, like a stand-up comedian.
Right.
And we're not that.
Right.
So we said we don't want the ID anymore.
كله بيقول الخير جاي من ورا نسمع وقود في الآخر يطلع سراب مين قال نسلم ده مستحيل يلا ننظف البلد ما كله يطلع في الغسيل.
صبح وليل داخل خارج مع جاسكا ويا دوبك حتى ما يكلمني بيحكي لي عن جاسكا ما اقدرش الومك يا حبيبي عن نفسي حبة جاسكا عن نفسي حبة جاسكا الله يخللنا جاسكا الله يخللنا جاسكا الله يخللنا جاسكا الله يخللنا جاسكا.
I sing about my daily life. Like I have a song about driving and being stuck in the traffic, and I have a song about not able to kiss in the street. A lot of girls now, in our generation, that have their own musical project. They write their own songs, they compose, they have names, and that for me means something because before that, even the very famous lady singers, they used to sing for other men. Whenever I travel, like I found some very stupid questions. How do you walk in the streets when you're wearing like this in Egypt? And things like it must be very hard for you being in a very different culture than yours. They still have this really stereotype about the Arab world, which is sometimes true and sometimes not. So it's good to know that without me telling this directly, they have, from my song and from the way I sing, they can understand how a girl in my age living in Egypt thinks about and feels, what's the ideas she has right now, how she wants to change her society.
قدام السور قدام اللي بنيه قدام السور قدام اللي معليه قدام السور قدام اللي بنيه قدام السور قدام اللي معليه وكمان قدام اللي واقف يحميه وكمان قدام اللي واقف يحميه وقف راجل غلبان وعمل بيبي وقف راجل غلبان وعمل بيبي.
The lyrics of this song was written back in 2005 by a caricature artist. He's called Walid Taher. It was published in his book. And I was checking his book, and which I know it very well, and I've read this like many times before. But when I read it this time, it was like, oh, as if I'm seeing it for the first time. Just felt connected and linked it to the walls I see. But I never think like when I'm talking to people out there what they will see in my songs and what I have to say about my country to the other people to the West or I never think really that way. I just say what I feel right now, how I see the problem or what I'm suffering from really, and I think they will get it whether here or there. So here they will link it to their lives because of course they're having the same problems I have or experience, and out there they maybe can understand about the Arab world.
في ناس بتلعب كورة في الشارع وناس بتمشي تغني تاخد صورة في الشارع في ناس بتلعب كورة في الشارع وناس بتمشي تغني تاخد صورة في الشارع في ناس بتشتم بعض ناس بتضرب بعض ناس بتشتم بعض تضرب بعض تقتل بعض في الشارع.
We are so lucky to be in this generation and this era where we have internet and we have social media. It helped us in a way because you're no more depending on the government, on media, on the things that people used to depend on to know about other nations. Now you're just talking to someone and you just know the truth as it is. You can see a video once it happens and you see it and you know how to judge if it's true or not, and so you're not depending on anyone.
I was excited to go to this trip, but I never thought it would be so. It added so much to my knowledge of the region. You know, looking at it from the angle of the music and the culture. So it was a really good experience. And the sad thing that I learned was that I think 100 years ago, this whole region was much more. It was closer. You know, the experience was more. You could feel that we were drifting apart. The whole region is drifting apart. They have the same problems, that they're facing the same threats and their neighbors, but the distance is getting bigger and bigger. The gap between countries and cultures, that the neighbors is becoming bigger and bigger, and that was a scary thing. The fact that we were all facing the same problem. You go to all these different countries and you see these young generations. They're trying to play a role in the society and the government stops them. And it's the same thing happening in all these countries, and it's the same problem. And it's historically it's been like that for the last 100 years. But now we're trying to find our own solutions and not learn from each other. And I think that's, I don't know, I think that's we're gonna have to pay for this later.
پشت خط قرمز زیر خط فهم سر یه دوراهی گیر کردم یه ور جنگ و قتیل یه ور بدبختی نمیتونم برم نه برگردم دهان فلکا در به در رو میکن نگفتی یم بهتر بود یا ثروت علمنده پول تو دست زوره دنیا با پول و زور میگرده آقا نگردار آقا نگردار من همینجا پیاده میشم داداش نگردار